him.
That whole side, I can see you all.
Got this though too.
Am I ready? Yeah.
Feels redundant.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Yep.
Good morning. Welcome to the annual school district meeting, the deliberative session, which is where we figure out if there are any people who want to discuss and comment on the warrant articles that we have to review today. The deliberative session is not, doesn't put anything into effect, but what it does is it does set the final warrant for the voting on March 12th. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As I said, today we can consider and amend the articles that will be listed on the warrant for voting. And if there are people out there online, they can watch, but they can't participate remotely. There's no setup for that. So if you want to come in the course of the meeting, that's fine. I've been doing this a little while. I use this little cheat sheet, and I got a good friend over there, a lawyer who will keep me straight if I screw up. And I don't expect to have much to do with that particular sheet today, unlike in some other years in the last 20-something that I've done this. Essentially, the way I work, for those of you who haven't been here before, is if you want a turn, you get a turn. If you want a second turn, understand it needs to be new information. We support new information at any time, but we don't get into arguments or discussions, particularly if there are conflicting points of view. Again, I don't suspect that we'll have much of that today. So I will step in only if I think I need to, and I bet that doesn't happen today. There's a bunch of people here I'd like to acknowledge. Okay, from the school board, Mary Eads, Martha DiDomenico, Wendy Hall, Lillian Mon, Jessica Satterley Hall, Kevin Schutz, and Tia Winter. Those are all school board members. Administrators, Amy Allen is our superintendent. Welcome. Tim Ball, business administrator. Welcome again. Karen Woolsey, Director of Special Services. Karen Dubois, Equity Curriculum Instruction. Tyler Schenner, Technology. Diane Estes, School and Community Relations, and the person who gives me this stuff to read. Building principals and assistant principals. Leah Whelan, Hanover Street. Katie Roche, Mount Lebanon School. Erin Mills, the acting principal of Lebanon Middle School. Welcome. Ian Smith. I've known Ian since he was an 8th grader. I called a foul on him in a big game and he didn't like it. He's forgiven me since. Bonnie Robinson, Director of Curriculum, yes. Special recognition for me, moderator's prerogative. There's a guy out there by the name of Mike Stone. I've coached a little while, and he's wrapping it up, and he's done a great job through his entire career wherever he's been. Colin Tyndall, the assistant principal of Lebanon. Yeah, okay. And we've got Matt Decker as the school district attorney. And we've got supervisors of the checklist. I don't know if they're in here yet or out in the hall or whatever, but we also have some people who might be asked to speak in the course of the event who are not residents. But we also have the folks from Junction Arts and Media on the camera. That's you. Yep. Good. Glad to have you. Soundtown technician. So we're over there at the technology table. Anybody here from the Valley News today? Don't see anybody at the moment. Okay, well, and there's a guy in the back row I'd like to acknowledge because he was the school board chair for a little while. He's my neighbor, and it's nice to see him. Hello, sir. Richard Milius. Okay. Can I please have action on the reading of the warrant?
I move to waive the reading of the entire warrant.
Do I have a second? Okay. 2 seconds. That's good. Overkill. Okay. So with that in mind, I would like to have action on Article 1.
Good morning. Article 1, election of officials, to elect 3 members of the school board, for 3 terms, and to elect 1 member to a second term, to elect a school district clerk, a school district treasurer, and a school district moderator, each for 1-year term. Information. This year, there are 6 positions open. 3 school board positions will serve for 3-year terms. District moderator, district clerk, district treasurer positions will serve 1-year terms. For more information regarding requirements, please contact the school district clerk, Diane Estes, at SAU88.net. All applicants must be City of Lebanon residents and registered voters. The filing period began 7 a.m. January 24th, 2024, and concluded on the February 2nd, 2024 at 5 p.m. Declaration of candidates was delivered to City Hall, 51 North Park Street. Thank you.
That's a first for my tenure anyway, that the filing period is already over when we get to this meeting. Usually you have a few days if you were sitting here and wanted to apply for a position, but it's done, and I managed to get there before the end of the week, so I've applied to be this again. So, are there any further discussion or action on Article 1? So this is something, all right. So the warrant itself is written correctly. The script is wrong. Okay, so you want me to say, all right, I'll give you this right back. Yeah. The script we were given says that we were electing 3 members of the school board, each for a 3-year term, and 1 person to a 2-year term. And apparently the warrant as written out in the hallway for everybody to inspect does not include the 2-year term. So the election is going to be a 3-year term for 3 different people. There is no 2. Action on Article 2.
Good morning. To see if the school district will raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therewithin, totaling $55,056,420. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $54,646,950, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Lebanon School District or by law, or the governing body may hold 1 special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 8 yes and 0 no.
Would you like to speak to this article?
Yes, I can read some information.
Okay.
The operating budget of $55,056,420 recommended by the Lebanon School Board and presented to you today is the product of months of preparation by school staff and administrators and several months of discussion by the Lebanon School Board. In November 2023, the budget proposal for the 2024-2025 school year was presented to the Lebanon School Board. The proposed budget increase for 2024-2025 is 6.9%. The increase is primarily due to increasing benefit costs. Additionally, we are seeing an increase in tuition costs for both Hartford Area Career Technology Center and special education. The proposed budget, including all funds, is $55,056,420. The proposed budget is estimated to add about $1.37 per 1,000 to the local school property tax rate. If the operating budget is not approved, the default budget will be $54,646,950, including the food service and grant funds. The default budget by law reflects the equation of the current budget minus one-time expenses in the current budget plus any additional cost of contractual obligations. Amy will do our presentation of the budget.
Thank you all for being present today at our city deliberative session. The City of Lebanon takes pride in its rich history and the legacy of fostering strong schools and vibrant community. Our commitment to providing quality education is evident in the success of our students who consistently graduate well prepared for both career and college pursuits. I want to extend my gratitude to the dedicated efforts of our building administration, district administration, and the board who have worked tirelessly to craft a proposed budget that aligns with the needs of our students in schools. This budget not only reflects our commitment to academic excellence, but also underscores our responsibility to manage resources prudently. As we navigate the budget this year, let's remain steadfast in our dedication to providing the best possible educational outcomes for all of our students. Together, we can ensure our schools continue to thrive and contribute to the prosperity of the Lebanon community. Thank you again for your presence and engagement in this important discussion. Our why, our vision, the Lebanon School District, in partnership with the community, is committed to providing a challenging, positive, and safe learning environment that cares, one that cultivates curiosity and collaboration, achieves academic excellence, respects and values diversity, encourages responsible citizenship, and supports the needs of every learner. This budget here reflects and supports the needs of 1,642 students at the Lebanon School District. We take a process of zero-based budgeting clarity and transparency. What does that mean? Rather than assuming the district will spend a certain amount on items each year, building and district administrators have specified the needs and costs for each item in our account lines. Board members, SAU, and building administrators review each of those lines in the budget. In November, SAU administrators and principals present a proposed budget to the full board, and then the board approves that budget. All right, our timeline here. In October, the district and building leadership put together a budget was $54,888,969. On October 30th, we reduced that budget by $508,749. At the November 18th meeting, we presented a budget of $54,379,750. $54,379,720. At that meeting, it was reduced again by $47,500. Our district team met again, and we reduced that budget by $495,000. In consultation with the DRE, we removed $200,000 in CRF contributions, which is a separate warrant article, and $250,000 in special education expenses to be expended from the Special Education Trust Fund. Altogether, your budget that's presented today has been reduced by $1,502.49 from the original presentation. I'm going to turn this over to Tim Ball.
Morning. So you can see and the last, one caveat, I think, from the last slide, when we're talking, and those of you who have been around a while know this, today we're talking about the gross budget, which is the general fund budget, which what your local taxes are based on, plus other funds, which include a grant fund, which is all the funds for Title I and IDEA and other grants we get from the federal government, and food service funds. So our food service program is a separate fund. It's funded by federal money, by parents paying. So we're talking about the gross appropriation number, but in that last slide, when we talked about the numbers that we presented, that's general fund stuff, because that's the stuff that controls your taxes. So the $55,056,420 is a total gross budget, which includes all funds and all funding sources. The general fund budget is $53,386,420. This represents an increase of 6.99% to the expenditure budget. The other side of the budget, and you'll see that on the budget forms if you look, is the revenue side, so what we're going to spend and what we're going to bring in. The forecasted local non-tax revenues, so we have revenue that come from sources that are not your taxes. It is slightly increased. We have another slide on that. However, we are projecting, as we usually do, a fund balance contribution, so that's money left over from this year's budget of $1 million. On your tax bills you got this fall, the unassigned fund balance was $1.8 million for a variety of reasons. One was a little less expenditures, also some extra revenue. We try to budget conservatively on the revenue. So when we get extra revenue from things like impact fees from the city, from people moving in, from buildings, that is actually revenue that flows back in your taxes. So you can see, obviously, we're projecting $1 million from $1.8 million. That looks like an $800,000 gap. Hopefully, the actual revenue that goes back will be more than $1 million, but for purposes of conservative budgeting, we're planning on $1 million, and that impacts, so the expenditure plus the revenue, or minus the revenue, is an impact on your taxes of $1.37 per thousand. If the operating budget is not approved, the default budget will be $54,646,950. The difference, if you're wondering, is $409,470. One thing about the default budget is it's simply a calculation. That's what Wendy was referring to when she talked about an equation we were given in the law. We're given, you take last year's number and you subtract some stuff and you add some stuff, and that's it. It is not a scientific calculation on what the bare minimum to operate is. It's literally a math equation. Obviously, in the opinion of the administration, or at least me, if the default budget was what we needed to operate, then that would be the budget we're proposing. So, but I just want to let you know that the default budget is not, but we really like this, but we can do with this. The default budget is basically given to you. Subtract, add this, subtract this. Hopefully you can see that. This is really just a graphical sort of summary of some of the major pieces of the budget. You see a revenue we're projecting. Get rid of that. We're projecting a revenue increase of again, we're talking about the non-tax revenue, an increase of $679,236. Expenses, we're projecting an increase of $3.48 million. If we go down the revenue side, the left side, we are seeing, we get projections from the state on what our funding would be. Adequacy aid, they're projecting $127,000. Again, this is based on projections from the state that come out in November. We just project that, so hopefully their projections are good. We are projecting $383,000 more in tuition from sending towns. So we're part of an area agreement, and Many schools send their kids here. Plainfield and Grantham send all their kids here, unless the kids choose a private school or something. But we also have, we have Cornish, we have Hartford, we have Heartland. I think we have a Hanover or two. So we get tuition from a lot of different schools, and we're projecting, based on enrollments in 8th grade and 6th grade in Grantham, that would be an increase of $383,000. We're looking at $127,000 more in special education aid, $70,000 more in interest, and altogether, all other stuff, $96,000. And the last bullet down there mentions what I just talked about, that the money we're expecting to receive from non-tax revenue is increasing, but this unassigned fund balance contribution, which would reduce your taxes, we are projecting a decrease over what it actually was this last fall. Every budget we project $1 million, and we're often pretty close. This last year it was a little higher because of some other unexpected revenue. So the unexpected revenue does nothing but help you in the end. On the expense side, salaries, our budget, one of the reasons why our budget is a little higher percent increase than usual is that all of our CBAs, we have 4 collective bargaining units, they're all already included in the warrant. There are no separate warrant articles for a bargained agreement. So all that stuff is built in already, and that's an increase of $539,000. We do have, as part of the work that Amy mentioned earlier with our reductions from November till now, there are some reductions in staffing that we are projecting. You'll see in some follow-on slides. There is about $1 million increase in healthcare. Our premium increase is 8%. Our healthcare is not just based on a premium increase of 8%. It's also based on what people's choices are. So last year's budget, for example, if you had a two-person plan and then you had a baby, last year's budget would have shown a 2-person plan projection. This year it'll be a family. So it's not a straight 8%, but it is 8%, and healthcare premiums across the state, at least in towns and cities and schools, are increasing. 8% is actually, ironically, pretty low. There are some towns that are seeing 25% increases on their premium. Retirement, a lot of that is, there's no increase in a retirement contribution percentage to the state, but obviously as salaries go up, the retirement dollar amount goes up. We are seeing a $1.3 million increase in our special education costs, mostly based on tuition. Also some, there's other contracted services costs and other things associated with special ed. It's very expensive. Transportation, we have an increase of $125,000, which is wage increases and rising fuel costs. This budget does not have any new equipment purchases as far as buses in it. Throwing a $63,000 increase in utilities costs. We're budgeting a 10% increase on propane and electricity and water and sewer. We tried to use a 3-year average this year, so we didn't just look at last year's and go up 10%, but we looked at the average over the last 3 years. We have taken steps to mitigate the increases. So propane, for example, we have a pretty good contract with Irving Oil. Electricity, we've done some fixed pricing looking out. Obviously, if you have your own electricity bill at your house, you know how expensive it can be. So we have fixed the supply side of things, and we do like a 12-month contract and renegotiate that. I feel we're doing what we can on the electricity side to keep things as low as possible. We do have a small decrease in our debt service. We don't have any new bonding, obviously, but as a bond gets older, it by nature gets a little less every year. Other increases come out to $253,000. I think that's it for me.
Thank you, Tim. We had 3 goals when we met with building and district leadership. One was to continue to provide a high-quality education for the students of the Lebanon School District. Second, was to begin to bring parity between Mount Lebanon Elementary School and Hanover Street School, so no matter which school you attended, you would have the same experience. And 3, to be able to present a fiscally responsible budget to this community. Next, I'm going to highlight some of the adjustments that were made at each school. So I'm going to take a look at Mount Lebanon Elementary School. Currently, there are about 256 students in grades pre-K to 4. There's a 35% free and reduced lunch rate. Based on the needs at Hanover Street and based on the needs at Mount Lebanon School, we are shifting 1 teacher from Mount Leb to Hanover Street to replace their retiring 4th grade teacher. We are reducing their enrichment program by 0.4 FTE to align with Hanover Street. We are reducing 2 paraprofessionals, and we are also developing a special education support programming as the needs of our students have increased. Hanover Street School. There's approximately 314 students in grades K to 4. Currently, there is a 30% free and reduced lunch rate. Based on our student needs, we are shifting 1 teacher, 4th grade from Mount Lebanon School, to fill that retiree. We are not replacing 1 retiring 2nd grade teacher. We are reducing a 0.2 FTE in physical education. We are reducing 1 paraprofessional position. And there's a reduction of the Junior Great Books Enrichment Program. Again, that will put that goal of parity between both elementary schools. Lebanon Middle School. Currently, there are approximately 459 students in grades 5 through 8. There's about a 26% free and reduced lunch rate, and we are recommending reducing 2 FTE positions from retirees. Lebanon High School. Currently, 615 students in grades 9 through 12, 16.2% free and reduced lunch rate. Based on our student and school needs, we are reducing 1 FTE administrative assistant and reducing 1.4 FTE paraprofessional positions. These decisions were made in collaboration with the school's leadership team and the district team, and we feel confidently this will not impact the quality education that the Lebanon School District continues to provide. So we are really looking forward to 2024 and all the great things happening within the district. I will quickly highlight them. We had a math curriculum implementation in K to 6. We're currently piloting ELA curriculum, so English Language Arts. This year in September, we brought in the New Hampshire Apprentice Program. We have 20 aspiring teacher apprentices in the Lebanon School District, so these teacher apprentices will go through and work for us as paraprofessionals and go to teacher college at little to no cost in hopes to developing a teacher pipeline for us as teacher retirements continue. We hired a special education family liaison. We've increased our special education capacity to meet our students. We have a recognized extended learning opportunities program. We have a recognized adult education and English language learner program. We've increased our volunteers helping out in schools through various programs. We've increased our communications with families through school messenger, so we're now communicating via text, email, and phone calls. Our community partners have increased. Students continue to earn dual enrollment credits. Our elementary schools are, I would say, on the move to full alignment. And finally, Lebanon High School has been awarded the Take Flight grant. So next year, the students will be building our very first airplane for Lebanon High School, and that program will continue on. Just a quick highlight about AP scores. Last year, 274 AP exams were taken by 158 students. Depending on the report, anywhere between 88 and 90% of those students are scoring 3-year and plus and earning credit for college. As you can see, as a graph, our numbers continue to increase. They're doing great work over at Lebanon High School. SAT scores that are taken for 11th grade, our scores are in the blue. The red is New Hampshire, and the yellow is national. So Lebanon students continue to outscore both New Hampshire and national test scores. Approximately 80% of Lebanon high school seniors attend college, with a strong majority opting for four-year college, and some doing a two-year college or continuing post-secondary students. We have students who graduate and join the military, and students who decide to enter the workforce directly with high-paying jobs. This is just a graph of some of the universities that our students attend. We have students attending students in England, Canada, all over the United States, including several Ivy League schools. I just want to highlight our Hypertherm and Fujifilm internship. We're in the 5th year. This is a unique and innovative one-semester internship for juniors and seniors. Authentic hands-on learning experience. Students are earning both high school and college credits, and this is a terrific opportunity for students to explore careers. Finally, I would like to just honor our staff. Our staff are the foundation of the Lebanon School District, so collectively an impressive 346 years of service to the Lebanon School District and students, total combined of our retirees. I'm quickly going to just call out their name and honor them, and want to thank them for their service. Bonnie Bergeron, 41 years. Kathleen Blaine, 39 years. Joseph Spinella, 38 years. Susie Isabel Hayes, 37 years. Jeffrey McQueen, 27 years. Michelle Daigle, 23 years. David Vivian, 23 years. Stephanie Karabic, 21 years. Joanne Stone, 16 years. Louise Filaire, 15 years. Joy Gobin, 13 years. Dorothy Powell, 12 years. Terry Doobie, 10 years. June Hathorn, 10 years. Nancy Plummer, 9 years. Mike Stone, 8 years, and Karen Woolsey, 4 years. I want to congratulate them and thank you for all you've done for the Lebanon School District. That concludes my budget presentation. Again, thank you for the building administration, district administration, and the school board to work in collaboratively to put forth this budget. Thank you.
Okay. Any further action on Article 2? Sir. Pam. Didn't see behind. Name and ward, please. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't realize you were sitting behind some people.
Georgia Tuttle, Ward 1. I just wanted to rise and thank you all for what you do, including all of our teachers. I'm not speaking for or against the budget, but I wanted to highlight 3 things. I hope we will continue to encourage physical activity in our schools, including recess for smaller grades. Where I grew up, we had 2 recesses a day, 1st through 3rd grade, and teachers had 51 students in the class, no aides, and I only had 1 boy in those first 3 years of school that ever had to be tied in his seat. So whatever issues we're having today, perhaps adding a quick recess running up and down the halls or something might help calm some students who don't like to sit in their seat for long. But it's good for the kids to get up and move, and I think we should have phys ed through 10th grade in high school. I want to compliment you on teaching script. I know it's controversial. At least I saw a handbook, a workbook on one of the photographs in the paper, so I'm assuming kids get that training. That is useful for every medical profession that people may go into, dental hygiene, phlebotomy. As I watch children hold a pen with their thumb wrapped around their hand, you cannot move a medical instrument with that grip. So I think script is important for teaching the grip to help children have more options for employment outside the school system. And it may sound silly, but start watching your dental hygienist, start watching your physician in the office. In dermatology, we hold all of our instruments like we were taught to hold a pencil. And it is a critical thing for finished carpentry and others. So please continue to think of that as a future skill for employment. And finally, I wondered if we keep statistics on the young people who go over to Hartford Tech, and whether we can, and maybe you already do this, but if you don't, maybe it's something that could be used to say, we send young people to Ivy League schools, but we also have 37% of our students who go there for carpentry get jobs, and this is a successful pathway, and we can use that kind of success as an additional way to start to get some tradespeople back into our community here. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia. Well spoken. Any further action on Article 2? Hearing none. Action on Article 3?
Article 3, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Construction and Renovation Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $800,000 to be added to the Lebanon School District Construction and Renovations of School Buildings Capital Reserve Fund previously established. The first $200,000 shall come from general taxation, with the balance of up to $600,000 to come from the June 30th fund balance available for transfer on July 1 in excess of $1 million. The first $1 million of the June 30th unassigned fund balance will be used to reduce the school tax rate in 2024. A majority vote is required to pass this article, and the school board recommends this article of a vote of 8 yes, 0 no. And the board is seeking to accelerate the growth of this fund to address ongoing and future capital needs.
Any further action on Article 3? Sir?
Dick Milius, Ward 1. This is more a request for information, I suppose, for people who are here and people who will be voting on this article when we go to the polls. I had not seen something structured like this before. Perhaps it's been done here previously or other places. But what is being proposed is to raise the first $200,000 by direct taxation and the remainder from unexpended fund balance. And I was just interested in understanding the rationale behind putting those two things together, because it seems to me that it's somewhat risky in that if the voters turn this down, then the capital reserve fund will get zero rather than, let's say, $600,000 if we're structured as it has been in the past, where the money is coming from unexpended funds. So if we could get a little clarification on that, I think it would be useful.
Good question, Dick. So this warrant has had several iterations since November. The discussion with the board surrounded around, instead of just putting money in the cap reserve fund from money left over, which we have done for I don't know how long, at least a decade, but be more intentional and put money in the budget every year, or start to put money in the budget every year, recognizing we have a lot of capital needs, and instead of kind of passively hoping there's money left, to actively put money in. So the first iteration of this budget, we had it right in the budget, and Department of Revenue and our attorneys they told me I couldn't do that. So if you're going to put money in a cap reserve fund, it always has to be on a separate warrant article. So then the next iteration, I had a warrant article that was written for consideration that we would have one warrant article for $200,000 and another for $600,000. Had a debate about that, and I talked to the Department of Revenue extensively about this. And this language actually is recommended by them and approved by our attorneys. I do recognize that's a risk, but having two separate warrant articles presents other risks, including a lot of confusion. So, yes, if this warrant article is defeated, then no money would go into a cap reserve fund, and I guess we would have to figure something out better for next year. But the intent is to deliberately put money in during the budget, so, and so we're not just waiting to hope that there's money left at the end of the year. I hope that explains a little bit how we got to where we got.
Any further action? Article 3? Hearing none. May I have action, please, on Article 4?
Article 4, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund. It reads, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $250,000 to be added to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund previously established. This sum to come from June 30th fund balance available for transfer on July 1st in excess of $1 million. The first $1 million of the June 30th unassigned fund balance will be used to reduce the school tax rate in 2024. No amount to be raised from taxation. The majority vote is required. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 8 yes, 0 no. And to note, the board seeks to appropriate funds from year-end fund balance to cover the costs of anticipated increases in special education costs next school year.
Any further action on Article 4? Hearing and seeing none. That's it. We vote, as I said at the start, on March the 12th. We've now set the warrant for voting, and appreciate people coming to see us, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout in March. Thank you. We're adjourned.